You don't fear failure, you fear judgment. You say you're afraid to fail. That sounds reasonable. Failure hurts, failure costs, failure wastes time. But that's not what's stopping you. You don't fear failure. You fear being seen failing. You fear someone watching you try. You fear someone watching you struggle. You fear someone watching you not succeed. Failure in private feels disappointing. Failure in public feels humiliating. And humiliation is what your nervous system is avoiding. Not failure. Failure is practical. Judgment is personal. Failure is technical. You attempt something. It doesn't work. You adjust. Judgment is social. You attempt something. It doesn't work. Someone sees. Someone forms an opinion. You imagine what they think. Your body reacts. Failure attacks your strategy. Judgment attacks your identity. That's why it feels heavier. Because identity feels more fragile than plans. The body responds to perception, not logic. You can logically tell yourself, no one cares that much. But your body doesn't respond to logic. It responds to perceived social threats. Historically, being rejected from the group meant danger. Isolation meant vulnerability. So your nervous system still interprets social rejection as a threat. You imagine posting something vulnerable. Your heart rate increases. Your chest tightens. Your thoughts accelerate. Your palms sweat. You tell yourself you're afraid to fail. But your body is reacting to exposure. Think about this honestly. If you could attempt something and be guaranteed that no one would criticize you, no one would laugh, no one would remember your mistake, no one would judge your character, would you hesitate? Most people wouldn't. That means the action isn't the problem. The audience is. You don't avoid failure. You avoid being seen trying. Notice what you delay. You don't delay thinking about the idea. You don't delay fantasizing about success. You don't delay imagining outcomes. You delay visibility. Submitting the application, publishing the work, making the call, asking the question, confessing the feeling, taking the public risk. Because once you act, you are visible. And once you are visible, you are interpretable. And once you are interpretable, you are judgeable. That's the chain your body is reacting to. Procrastination is protection. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's identity protection. If you never submit the work, no one can evaluate it. If you never launch, no one can reject it. If you never speak, no one can disagree. Delay protects ego. Inaction preserves image. You remain potentially capable, untested, undefined, unexposed. That feels safer than risking redefinition. The need to be seen as competent. Most people don't just want to succeed. They want to be seen as competent. Competence is social currency. Being perceived as intelligent, capable, and stable feels regulating. So, when you imagine failing publicly, it feels like losing status, even if the stakes are small, even if the audience is tiny, even if the moment is temporary. Your nervous system exaggerates the risk. Childhood shaped this. You weren't born afraid of judgment. You learned it. You spoke in class, someone laughed, you made a mistake. You were corrected publicly, you expressed emotion, you were dismissed. You tried something, you were compared. Your system learned visibility can equal pain. So now as an adult, your nervous system activates at the idea of exposure, even when there is no real threat. Your body doesn't know the difference between then and now. It just knows the pattern. Social media multiplied the threat. You no longer risk judgment from 5 people. You risk it from hundreds, thousands, millions. Metrics became visible. Silence became visible. Comparison became constant. Your nervous system evolved for small tribes, not global feeds. So your fear isn't irrational, it's outdated. Failure versus humiliation. Failure says, that didn't work. Humiliation says, you are inadequate. Failure is situational. Humiliation feels identity-based. Your brain confuses the two. So instead of seeing failure as feedback, you experience it as exposure. And exposure feels dangerous. You are managing perception constantly. You edit your words before speaking. You adjust tone. You over-explain. You soften boundaries. You delay posts. You polish endlessly. You wait for perfect timing. All of this is perception management. You're trying to control how you're seen. But perception is not controllable. The moment you are visible, interpretation begins. And you cannot control interpretation. Control is the real addiction. You want control over how you're understood, how you're remembered, how you're evaluated. But visibility removes that control, and loss of control feels threatening. So you shrink. Not because you lack ambition, because you crave certainty of image. Confidence is not what you think. Confidence is not believing you will win. Confidence is believing you can survive losing publicly. It's not outcome-based, it's exposure-based. You build confidence by trying, being judged, surviving, repeating. Confidence is somatic, not intellectual. Notice who moves fast. People who seem bold are not immune to criticism. They just don't reorganize their lives to avoid it. They post and adjust. They speak and refine. They launch and iterate. They fail and continue. They don't protect identity at the cost of growth. They let identity evolve through exposure. The identity problem. If your identity depends on being liked, approved, validated, praised, then judgment feels catastrophic because it destabilizes self-worth. But if your identity is grounded internally, I value growth, I value honesty, I value progress, then judgment becomes information, not a verdict. The hidden cost of avoiding judgment. When you avoid judgment, you also avoid opportunity, visibility, feedback, growth, authority, leadership, expression. You trade expansion for comfort. You trade potential for predictability. And then you wonder why life feels small. You are not afraid of failure. You failed before, and you survived. What lingered wasn't the failure. It was the reaction, the comment, the look, the silence, the comparison. Your body remembers the social impact more than the outcome. Rejection is cleaner than judgment. Rejection is a no. Judgment is an interpretation. You can survive a no. It's the story around the no that destabilizes you. They think I'm not good enough. They think I'm incompetent. They think I shouldn't try. Most of that story is imagined, but your body reacts as if it's confirmed. Micro-exposure practice. Here's how you retrain this. Do small visible actions intentionally. Speak up in one meeting. Post something imperfect. Ask one question that risks rejection. Share one opinion without cushioning it, then do nothing. Don't explain. Don't defend. Don't immediately justify. Let discomfort exist. Let interpretation exist. Let silence exist and survive it. Your nervous system recalibrates through repetition. You cannot outthink social fear. You can journal about it, analyze it, understand it, but until you are exposed and survive exposure, it doesn't rewire. The body learns through experience, not insight alone. The hardest truth. Some people will judge you, some will misunderstand you, some will reduce you, some will project their insecurity onto you. That is unavoidable. But shrinking yourself to avoid that guarantees something worse. Regret. The future version of you. The version of you that has what you want is visible. Visible means exposed. Exposed means judgeable. Judgeable means misunderstood by some. If you are not willing to tolerate being misunderstood, You cannot expand. Your life is being limited by imagined audiences. Half the people you fear judging you aren't paying attention. The other half are too preoccupied with their own image to analyze yours deeply. You are organizing your life around a spotlight that barely exists. Final shift. The next time you hesitate, ask, am I afraid to fail? Or am I afraid to be seen trying? That question removes the mask. And once you see the real fear, you can train it. Because failure is feedback. Judgment is interpretation. And interpretation only has power if your identity depends on it. Build identity internally. Increase exposure gradually. Let yourself be seen. Because the only thing worse than being judged is never being known. Thank you for watching. This is MindStickz.